I had to look at myself in the mirror and go, okay, I built up this mini empire. I was brazenly told, we're not going to pay you. Go bankrupt and start again. That fueled me. I'm grateful for that lesson, although it did me for £250,000. What I know now, what I didn't know then, how resilient are you and how resilient is your business? I ended up working with Google. I ended up working with AXA UK.
The actual reality of entrepreneurship is that ability to, despite everything that's happened, continue to move forwards.
You can't control what's next, so you just got to be able to get your mindset in such a way that it's indestructible.
Welcome to another episode of the Property Developer Show, the podcast. Today, I'm joined by a very good friend of mine, Ryan Malee. So we're probably going to spend the next 45 minutes taking the piss out of each other, but hopefully some nuggets in between. And we might need some subtitles for this Doncaster Prince.
Listen, the Yorkshire accent, it's God's accent.
Well, I appreciate you making the trip over from the mighty Donny today, and pleasure to have you on finally.
Yeah, listen, it's been a while, hasn't it? But no, thanks for having us. Really exciting, to be fair. Show's great. Love watching. Love listening. Good. It's more of a... so us from Donny, we don't really get out of Donny. So I have a routine, watching podcasts and things like that. And for me, it's a morning thing. I was just talking outside there, just saying, like, look, for me, my morning ritual changed. I wanted to be in the gym, all this 5 a.m. club, things like that. Mate, when you got kids, that's straight out the window. I don't care what anyone tells you. Like, you realise, oh yeah, that's the perception. That's what it should be like. The reality is what's comfortable in your household, because you can control what you can control. But in your household, you've got children, you've got your missus, and anything like that. They're all other factors that can affect your daily routine. Absolutely. So I found now, I have to now substitute, which I hate because it's my default diary. Literally, if I showed you my phone right now, I'd tell you my first thing I do is my gym wellness routine. I've had to substitute that because one of my children, my little one, Evan, he had a little diagnostic. It was last year now. And obviously we've adapted how we have to live to suit his needs. But what it did allow me to do, rather than going to the gym and get ready in the morning, I actually pivoted and shifted, and I do my sort of like my listening and not meditation, not like that, but like I'll do my podcast, things like that, have my coffee in the morning and do a bit of catch up reading. So yeah, that went from there really.
Well, it was a long way to say thank you for having me on the show anyway.
Yeah, cheers, man. You'll get used to that.
Great stuff. So for people that maybe don't know who you are, just give us a brief background of Create and, what you sort of have got going on in terms of the principal contracting business and developing yourself.
Brief, you said. For those who know me, know that that's near impossible. Typical fail footballer, straight into the trade. My dad's always said, use your hands. They can never be taken from you. And, you'll always put them to work. It was true. I went to the trade, started learning my craft as a shop fitter, not lifter. Many people get them confused with my Yorkshire accent. And I learned to be a tradesman. I last had a job at the age of 19, I think it was, and I very quickly went into self-employment because my then and current employer just wanted to be and keep me as a tradesman. I wanted to, go through the ranks and be a project manager, ultimately aspired to be my boss. He had different plans for me, and we mutually agreed that was that. So from the age of 19, I've been self-employed since. Don't ask me why, because it weren't on the agenda, but I did. And eventually I stumbled into becoming a business owner, and I started to adapt my lifestyle. Did I want all this stereotypical, you get your time back? No, it weren't about that for me. It was more about freedom and just being able to do the things that I wanted to do the way I wanted to do them. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, I don't know. But here we are. 2012, reality struck. We got the news that I was about to be a dad. And I had a mini reflection and gone, well, hey, who are you? Why would anybody be inspired by you? What are you doing? What's your footprint on this planet? And that's when I realized I've got a duty to, be a leader to my son. Mm. And at the time I didn't know what we were having, boy or girl, but I knew that from a footprint perspective, that I needed to be someone that they could be proud of. Mm-hmm. And that was then the birth ground of Create. And that was founded in 2012. Originally just as the construction company with clients, not for ourselves. That didn't exist at that time. And the plan then changed. We adapted, we evolved, we moved, we grew as a business. And in 2016, my dad came into the business, my brother came in just shortly after, and we started investing ourselves. That was born from the back of taking a big financial hit. Again, from a property shark, which we all know, his name gets branded around. And I took a lesson there. I was humbled. I allowed that to happen. I'll take full responsibility. I'm grateful for that lesson, although he did me for £250,000 of invoice value. That was a cruel lesson that I probably needed, looking back now.
What makes you say that?
Because you don't know what you don't know. And when you're high, everything's win-win-win because you're going the way you want to go. And you're doing what you think you want to do all the time. What you don't know is what you don't know. So getting hit on the left cheek with absolutely brutal left hook, if you want, that really opened my eyes to actually how vulnerable I were to.
Let's delve into that, because that was going to be my first question anyway, because I think there's a lot of levels to what you went through with that. What now goes into your decision making that maybe didn't back then? So that's 3 shows down and just 2 more to go. After another successful show in Birmingham, our next stop is Manchester on the 10th of September, where we'll have 45 exhibitors, 12 keynote speakers, and over 350 property developers in attendance. Again, that's Manchester, 10th of September. And then finally, we're in Leeds on the 8th of October. So if you're looking to network, raise money, meet new business partners, find new deals, or meet amazing service providers, visit our website today to book your free ticket, propertydevelopershow.co.uk. I look forward to seeing you there. When the deal needs to move fast and the numbers need to stack, there's one name in property who you can trust: Vast Commercial Finance. Whether you're funding a ground-up development, refinancing a HMO, or you need bridging for your next big opportunity, Vast connects you with the right lenders first time. No endless paperwork, no wasted weeks, just straight talking advice and access to the entire market. And if you're not sure what kind of funding you need, Vast will guide you through it with real expertise, fast response, and a genuine interest in making your project work. They're not just brokers, they're partners in your growth. So if you're a developer who needs speed, certainty, and clarity, head to vastcommercialfinance.com and get your next project moving.
One of my recent status that I've just put out on LinkedIn is your business recession proof? What I know now, what I didn't know then, was how resilient are you and how resilient is your business? Because what is a business? If you are the business, then you ain't got a business. If your business does not operate without you, then it's not a business, it's a job. And what I very quickly realized was, 1, do more due diligence on who you get into bed with in business. Because people are snakes, they are sharks, they are out for themselves. Not everybody, but this particular relationship it was structured and premeditated from the foundations, and I was just part of that process. There's many, many successful property developers that fall foul to this. And fortunately, we all came out the other side. And that's what I remember looking in the mirror. In that, my dad always said to me, get your hands, get them to work, become a tradesman, because no one could take them from you. And it was at that moment when I got took for all that money that I had to look at myself in the mirror and go, okay, I'd built up this mini empire. I've got, I think it was about 20, 25 members of staff for us at the time. We were flat out with work. We were doing great things. And then when I was brazenly told, we're not going to pay you, go bankrupt and start again. And you could take this as a business lesson. That fueled me to say, I won't swear, but
F you.
Yeah. F you. No. Some people say I was stupid not to go bankrupt. I didn't. I fought it. But when I fought it, I felt, I don't know if I felt guilt or if I felt embarrassed, but I come off the radar. And at that point, I realized, remove any ego, remove any show and tell, just stick to what you know best, and success will come from your why, what you want out of it, what your goals, and just focus on that. Don't worry about show and tell in the world. Just do it. And I did. I was humbled. I should have been better. I shouldn't have allowed that to happen. But I remember looking in the mirror, taking that, that gulp here where you're like, ugh, I'm not. Those who know me know that I'm not an emotional guy. I don't cry so much. And that's because I'm ridiculously in control of my emotions. So one of my statements, I will say to everybody, take emotion out of it, because people fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized you can only control what you can control. So I had actually allowed what that individual did to our business, I allowed that to happen because I didn't have XYZ in place. So without that experience, I might not have even today known what I know from that experience. So I am grateful for experience. Do I wish it upon anyone else? No, absolutely not, because that were brutal. That look into, the missus' eyes, and she said, are we going to be okay? And she said to me, we're pregnant with our second child. And I'd just been took for that much money. And I knew what we're going to have behind the scenes. Out of that, I still had 95,000 left to pay with the pockets turned out. And then I realised no one's coming to bail me out.
What was running through your head at that point?
Well, from my perspective, it's survival. So I went back to what my dad said, and I put my hands to work, and I put absolutely everything. Look, there's got to be some luck in there, because I ended up working with Google.
Wow.
I ended up working with AXA UK in W1 address, central London. And I worked on some very prestigious projects. And that delved into the professional side of what Create is today. Create being the full turnkey property investing company. So not only do we invest, we do the builds, we've got the agency at the back end, but we've also got the professional etiquette to it. So we do the project management, the QSing, things like that all the way through. And that is a bit that's missing today. So I learned that from, working with the likes of Google, the experts. They were happy to pay us to do a job to prove that it wouldn't work, just to get that knowledge. Although we could have saved them tens of thousands and say, don't do that, that'll work, that'll fail, let's do this, that works. They'd sooner pay us to prove it failed, to have that raw data to say, yeah, we've got that now. We know that won't work because we've trialed it, we've tested it, and there's the data to back it. And that started to blow my mind. And then it started to make me realize, actually, just do things. Don't do anything how you're going to do everything to 100%. And then you can start and really choose who you actually work with. So if you're going to get somebody who's got a bit of a can't be arsed attitude, don't work with them if they're not aligned with who you are as a person.
I like it. I mean, I think it's testament really to that continuing despite the circumstances that you were in. Whereas a lot of people would probably quit. They'd be like, I've been done here, $250,000. That's it. I'm just going to go and get a job. It's easier to do that. I give up type thing, throw the towel in. Whereas for you, it was the opposite effect. It was like, right, pull my sleeves up. I'm going for this now. And I think because of that attitude, that then led you down this path that you're in, essentially here now. But working with those tier one businesses that had you quit and given up, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now, for one. But two, you just wouldn't, there's no way you would have gone back at it because you would have been settled into that job and the income, and the kids have got to support them, whereas the opposite. So I think that is entrepreneurship. The actual true nitty gritty reality of entrepreneurship is that ability to, despite everything that's happened, continue to move forwards. And I think you've done that to a T. Yeah,
I suppose it's been more of my professional life really from that. I went through that journey in 2014, 2015. In 2016, my dad, my brother and I decided, no, we're not going to do this for, investors anymore, so to speak. We're going to use our own money. So we did. We used our own money that we'd compiled, mainly from my dad's pension. And we started our own property investing journey. We started with HMOs, so straight into the deep end, mainly because we knew exactly what went behind the scenes in terms of developing, because we were doing all our construction. So we started building up a full portfolio of HMOs, and we've done that since, like I said, 2012, really. That's been really, really successful. But again, the byproduct of that is then we learned the flaws of the management side of things. And we had an agent, and one of the first things the agent said to me is like, don't really matter what we do, the responsibility is yours at the end of the day. And that just hit me with a ton of bricks. I'm like, why am I employing you? Like, don't tell me that. Because if this responsibility is mine, then I have to make sure that I'm holding myself accountable to make the right decisions, because the responsibility is mine. I felt like a bit of like, are you joking? Like, why? I know that, but surely you're going to partner with me and harness some of that responsibility to protect me. There was no interest in that at that time. So in 2016, we went aggressive with our investing in mainly in the HMOs, buy-to-let, things like that. 2019, which was just before COVID, we launched the lettings agency with zero intention to be a letting agent. But when someone tells you brazenly to your face, it's your responsibility. You go, okay, that's fine. So yes, the reality of becoming an entrepreneur then became real. And I'll just say this. People, I don't know why, I've been an entrepreneur now for years. It is not a good job. I have no idea why anybody would want to be an entrepreneur, because I tell you now, you may as well get your life, bundle it up and toss it out the window. It's gone. It's a lifestyle. So if you're wanting all this sun, sea, sand, to buy this, going to America, holiday here, holiday there, nah, not at all. That's not what entrepreneurship is about, in my experience anyway. In fact, a little fun fact here, the last time I was in Liverpool, I was awarded Action Coach BizX Entrepreneur of the Year 2024.
Congrats.
Just around the corner, actually. I noticed that when I come up. I thought, aye, I've been here before. So being an entrepreneur to me is not a flex. I see a lot of people see that as like a really success thing. It's not. It's not what people think it is. You are taking full responsibility. That means paying everybody on time. You have to earn everybody else's money before you earn your own. And I know a lot of you gurus will say, no, you pay yourself first and then pay your team. Yeah, absolutely. But how do you think you're going to get the money in the first place? You know, you got to get your marketing right. You got to get your sales on point, get your operations out there, hold yourself accountable with all your finances. There's a lot of moving parts. So the moment you do that in one business and then replicate it to another business and then another and another, what you'll find is you need to be an absolute expert at communication. And that's several businesses, you know, and you can't afford to have one tumble because they can, you know, go like a pack of cards. So being an entrepreneur, it's a full-time job. It's 24/7.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
so
a
you personally might be good for it as in yourself, but yet then you've got to look at, well, who else does that affect? Have you got a partner? It will affect them. Mm-hmm. Have you got children? It will affect them. Mm-hmm. You know, so take it lightly when people say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, because it's not a massive flex for me.
I'd say it's a flex because of all of that you've just described, but it's not. You shouldn't wear it like, oh, you know, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm driving a nice car, you know, and I'm doing all the hot. You shouldn't wear it like that, but yeah. It's still an impressive feat for people to do what you've just described there, because it is a lifestyle. It's 24/7. You never switch off, and when you try and switch off, you can't switch off. And you know, I'm sure that someone's trying to phone you right now. My phone went off on another interview before. You know, it's that constant thing. But for me, I wouldn't have that any other way, because I think all systems would shut down if I wasn't busy, you know. But I still think it's you in the right context. You've still got to wear that, because that's a massive achievement. How many people on this planet, right, can say, someone took me for £250,000, I didn't lay down and die, I carried on, and now I'm effectively a successful business owner with multiple successful businesses and doing property. How many people on the planet can probably say something to
that? Maybe not. But I will always say this, mate. Life's a journey, not a destination. Mm. So that was one page in a chapter in my book.
Absolutely.
Right. That's only a little, footprint on my bigger footprint, if you want. So from there, that particular time of my life, I've said this before, I think today in 2025, resilience is going to be the new currency. Mm-hmm. So these little knocks, these little experiences will 100% create the version of you tomorrow, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I've always said, like, you become experienced, or you become more knowledgeable through experience. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The more experiences you have, the more knowledge you will actually generate. Yeah. So when you stick to the same thing and just keep doing it like a nodding donkey, you will become very, very well experienced in that, whatever it is that you're doing. Mm-hmm. But if, as an entrepreneur, we're wearing multiple hats in multiple businesses every day, like I said, 24/7. That period was just another one. I came out of that and decided we've got really good businesses. You know, me and our Stephen, my brother, he looks after the agency side. Me and him then operate the investment company. But I was on a social It was one of the BizX events down in London. And I stayed on on the yacht on the Thames. I stayed on that, like, oh, this is amazing, and a really good, let's relax and reflect on what we've been doing as a business. And let's celebrate it. That was a 3-day event, and we'd listen to like Stephen Bartlett, we'd listen to, a couple of dragons there, Deb Marine and Piers Linney, things like that on this stage. And it was really super inspiring. And then you get new sort of like inspiration to go and attack it even harder. That Saturday, I had dad guilt. I'd not seen my family for sort of 3 days. And it had been a very, very exhausting 3 days. And I remember it like it was yesterday. It was in April 2023. And my sons woke me up that Saturday morning. Dad, can we get on the bikes? No football. Okay, let's go. So we jumped on the mountain bike. And little did I know, 2 hours later, I was in a life or death situation. I'd come off the bike from what I can just describe as a life-changing moment. Such an innocent mistake. I was out cycling with my 2 young lads, and Katie's got the dogs in tow, so we tear us off. Katie's behind us, and within minutes of being at the little, so like Evan at the time, he'd have been 7, and he liked going on the little jumps, bits and pieces, but some lads had set that on fire, so he couldn't do that. So very quickly made a snapshot decision to go down to the bigger jumps, and my boys were in tow, and I went over the edge first. Luckily it was me, but they'd took all the bank out, so it weren't a ramp down, it were a cliff edge, and I went over it not knowing, didn't stop in time, and went and just somersaulted, 15-foot drop, and that was it. I broke my pelvis top to bottom. I'll show you a picture so you can have a look at that.
Yeah, we'll put it on the podcast. You can send us that.
So for 5 days, I was just in hospital, paralysed on the right-hand side, with surgeons not knowing what to do with me. It wasn't a very typical pelvis break. It's very unique. And everyone I spoke to had no idea what was going to happen. But I remember there was a surgeon who, they said they were going to fly up from London. It was either take me down to London or bring the surgeon up. And if I found myself getting transported from one hospital to another at the time, and they said, right, we're going to meet you both at one certain hospital where they specialise in these kind of fractures, so to speak, these breaks. And all this time, I've got businesses to operate, businesses to run, staff needing my dependency. There's a lot of factors going off. But the first thing that happened is I didn't want to tell anybody that I was in this, what I thought was just an innocent break. I didn't know what I'd done, but I knew I'd done something. I had no idea that I'd broken my pelvis at this point. For 5 days, I had no idea what I'd done. Not seen a single x-ray. No one had told me. So I just thought I'd be fine. And I didn't want to tell it. So I told all my team, we keep this to ourselves, we don't tell anybody. Because I didn't want clients thinking that they're going to panic or they're at risk. I didn't want anybody thinking anything differently to the norm, because I don't lay the bricks. I don't put the roofs on anymore. I don't do any of the work anymore. I'm not the one going out there doing all the viewings all the time. We've built up a team of people that do that on our behalf. So I felt the urge to keep it to myself until I knew what was going off. And my team came and visited me in hospital and said, look, first thing you need to do is just relax. We've got this. You just get yourself better. And the day after, the sort of like, the runners at the hospital, they said, get your belongings. We're going to transfer you to the hospital. The surgeon's going to meet you there. So, oh, brilliant. I'm going in. This is great. So I got transferred at 5 a.m. All day spent waiting. And then it got to that night, at about 10 p.m. that night, and the surgeon came in and she said, so this is what we're going to kind of do. Then I said, can I just stop you there? What have I done? What are you about to do? And she said, has nobody told you? And I got no idea. She went, you've got a 30% survival chance.
Wow.
And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I said, say that one more time. 30, what do you mean I've got 30% survival? She went, the fracture and the break that you've actually sustained is life-threatening. You're never going to be the same ever again. And that to me was like, well, we'll see. But what does that mean from here on in? So she said, we're going to have to do this operation, and there is a very high chance that you're not going to make it out the other side. You've got femoritis down there. It's not a good, it's not a good fix. So you spend all that night, bear in mind that's 10 a.m. and I'm first down. So that little bit of time there, you've got a little bit of window then to think, do you collate all your life together? Do you write down all your passwords and things like that? Do you do all your love letters? Or do you just sit and weep and wait for your fate? Well, obviously I made sure that, I had to write my exit letter to my sons, to my family, to Katie, to everybody. Passwords, what to do, what my ambition were, what I wanted my legacy to be, what I think of you name it, everything. I had a short window of opportunity to write all that down. And that'd have been it. I might not have woke up from that point. And I even, wrote a little message on my leg to the surgeon, because it was just like I might not see these people again. And I just want to know that they just need to relax, that this is whatever. So there's a lot goes through your head at that time when you're told that. So like losing the money or have a life-threatening injury, you've got to deal with it in the same manner, in that you can't control what's next. So you just got to be able to get your mindset in such a way that it's indestructible, irrelevant to what actually the event is. And obviously I'm here today, so I survived.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so there's two major events there, and for me it's down to resilience, it's mindset. But look, we built that team, we built that culture that actually you hire an expert to do an expert's job. I didn't have to worry about the businesses because they was all being operational without me. And that's when it is a business. That's when I've had lessons before where actually everything was dependent on me. I then had the right mentorship to ensure that we'd built a business and not just something around me. Mm-hmm. Now we've taken bigger, greater strides to become more resilient as a business, not just as people, but as the actual business itself.
Coming back to the mindset, I mean, I didn't know that story about you, which is I'm amazing that you're still here. But do you think that kind of resilience mindset is something that you've always had? Or maybe you've got a screw loose, or it's something that you've built towards? What do you think that is? Why do you think that way when maybe other people don't?
That's a great question. So you don't know what you don't know. And I recently spoke on a stage, and I was referring to the planning committee, and we've got AI integrations now in all sorts of shapes and forms, and we have to embrace it, but we don't know what it is. So you've got two choices. Are you the sheep and you just follow the crowd, or you're the shepherd? Which one are you? You've got to be able to, put yourself in a certain position. And I remember speaking about what Keir Starmer was announcing, and he brazenly said, you developers, you builders, get on and build it. I thought, finally, great. So now we've been told, let's build. So we can, off we go. We've got the tools, we've got the equipment, we've got the desire, we've got the passion. There's loads of us out there. Half of your guests have, must have been really excited with that. Like, come on, let's get out there. And I remember talking on the stage saying, well, that's fantastic news. So are we going to now implement some AI into the planning process to speed it up? Because that is a ridiculous red tape right now. Come on, Mr. Keir Starmer, don't announce that. We're not announcing this. We've got to build faster, remove the red tape. Mm-hmm. The week after, he released a statement. And I want to say this. People need to be very careful about generic statements to specific statements. And I'll tell you how misleading this is and which is relevant to what you've just asked. I say, remove the red tape, speed up the process, and let's build faster, in line with exactly what you want us to do. Keir Starmer then says, not because I said it, by the way, it's just like it's very typical timing.
Yeah.
But I'll own it. He then says, we're going to implement AI into the planning process. That's it. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. As if the stars have aligned. He wants us to build faster. We say we can remove the policy. He says we're going to speed it up using AI. Fantastic. Last week, I speak to planning, the committee, and say, hey, Keir Starmer's just announced this. When does this implement? And she started laughing. She went, oh my, how have you been misled? We're not using AI to speed up the process. We're using AI to get old records from old onto new systems just for archives, because we're spending that much money with archive planning apps and the time it takes getting it from archive into software, to put it on hard drives. So we're going to use a bit of AI to do that. And I thought, are you joking? How misled? So what is it that actually, was I born with it? Was I born with resilience? Was I born with this mindset? Well, I believe that actually we're more knowledgeable by the experiences you have. So these experiences, I can't control what Mr. Keir Starmer manipulates or says. We see it in property all the time, don't we, with developers. We could buy a deal. We bought a deal in 2021, right? And we all know what time that was. We did the figures in 2021. We committed in 2021. We're in 2025. We're still on that same deal. Look at the tax implications that have changed. Look at the policy that's changed. Look at the immigration that's changed. Look at the money that is moving from country to country. There's that many changes happening in that length of time. We haven't got any choice other than to be resilient. So your mindset then starts getting stronger and stronger over that time frame, if you want. So for me, I think being more knowledgeable by taking lessons, listening to podcasts like this, taking lessons from a lot of people's experiences, but be very, very careful on what it is that you're listening to. Because I see and hear a lot of generic statements that aren't really specific. It's the specificity that really counts for me. And that's what you need to dig deep on.
I like it. Going back to hospital bed, 30% chance of survival or death, whichever way around it was. What were you writing down in that moment? Where was your head at? Have you become a different person because of that experience and you've changed direction in life, or, what was kind of that moment like for you? Just very quickly interrupting this episode, have you got a property deal in mind? Want to build or grow your portfolio but unsure how to obtain funding? No problem. At Roma Finance, they love to lend. The borrower-first approach means Roma deliver flexible, tailored solutions that accommodate the diverse needs and experience of developers across residential and commercial projects. With a flexible criteria, Roma take time to understand each borrower's unique circumstances. Roma's attentive team are always equipped to handle and take on your requests. They will guide and support you throughout the property journey. Colleagues and customer relations are the beating heart of their business. Don't forget to explore Roma's website, romafinance.co.uk, for helpful resources, including articles and case studies to guide your financial decisions. Remember, Roma Finance love to lend. Your property goals are only a call or email away. Now back to the episode.
We're not made of glass. And even if we were, glasses smash, but you can still piece it back together. So what went on in my head at that point in time, and this is not a big ego camaraderie thing or anything like that, I can't control the outcome. But what I can control is what my influence of what we've built at Create, its legacy. So what was my legacy going to be? Yes, there was an element of I wrote a goodbye statement because I'd be a fool not to. But in there was my mission statement, what I wanted to achieve, what I wanted to create. What am I leaving? Did I leave what I intended to? So there was a mindset shift as well, in that I have not finished my journey. So if I pass tomorrow, I have not finished my work. I need to have left this kind of footprint. And that's what I'm continuously building. But I also had a different personal shift as well, in that actually, well, life is for living at the same time. Hence, life is a journey, not a destination. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it can go on and on and on. So this weekend, I've just ran the world's toughest mudder. And if I stood up now, you'll see that I've got a jelly belly that is not a refined six-pack abs, as you'd probably imagine this entrepreneur, very stereotypical, drives a Ferrari, six-pack abs, You know, you can imagine it, can't you? You've seen them all on YouTube. I mean,
You just described me, to be fair.
to be fair, you are doing well, mate. You are looking well at the minute.
I haven't got a Ferrari.
Yeah. But no, I did change what I focused more on. So in order to focus on what I wanted, I needed to very quickly focus on the foundations, because there's no point in focusing on myself straight away, because that was a selfish sort of like, yeah, I'll focus on number one now. It's like, yeah, but hang on a second. You can never look at yourself as one, because I've already got a foundation. I've already got a family. I've got children. I need to ensure that they're instilled with the disciplines today. So let me tell you something now. Baby boomers are going to retire within the next 5 to 10 years. Baby boomers are going to retire within the next 5 to 10 years. They are the backbone of our building nation. Okay? When they go, they're going to turn around and actually laugh on what is actually coming out of I want to say college today, but even college courses are struggling. There was a statement made on that platform I spoke on. And when I was a lad, when I was an apprentice, there were circa 25,000 apprentices in the year group across that time. Okay. Today, the stat that I heard, don't quote me on this, but I know it's within a certain percentage, but apparently there's less than 500 plumbing apprentices today in a year group throughout the UK. Now, when you look at that in terms of numbers, no child today wants to get up, get out of bed, get on a building site, lay bricks, develop like what we're trying to do, because it is ridiculously hard work. Not only that, they've got a mummy or a daddy behind them saying, oh, don't be poor to my little poor boy or girl. You can't treat them like that. Hang on a second. What's the statement? It's like, good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Easy times. Easy times create weak men. Is it something like, you know? We'll find out the statement. We'll bring it up.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at that, you think, hang on a second. We're mollycoddling our children. We are raising teddy bears. So when it comes to getting up at like 5 a.m. and get out there grafting, out of 100% of the availability of children today that can actually go and graft, how many of them want to go and graft, or how many of them want to pick up a phone and go, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a TikTok star. They're all wanting to take the shortcut to success, because we've seen it on social media. It can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So now, when you've got the baby boomers retiring and they're like, I've had enough of that generation, they can't be told. And if you want to tell someone, they want to square up to you. You can't talk to me like that. Next thing, you got the mum on the phone. Oh, you can't talk to my son or daughter like that. And you're like, oh my God, give me a break. Are you joking? Like, this is not bullying. We're just asking him to move bricks from there to there. That's not hard. It's not punishment. It's like, it's a necessity. You know, and then people question, oh God, why are we using robots? We don't want to get robots. They're replacing us humans. Yeah, because humans are lazy. Humans don't want the hard work anymore. Yeah. So really, I have a duty to my children. And you know, I'll say the word, it's lead and inspire. So if I am an example of what my children see, they need to see that it's not always about the hard work. You can work smarter, of course, but it's about getting up every day, rain or shine, and doing it, putting the hard work in. You know, get that graft in. Don't matter if it's working on something that's going to pay you a residual income for whatever as a legacy, or if it's stacking shelves at a supermarket. You know, at least stack them the best to your ability. I can't remember who said this once, but it was like, made me laugh. How many times do you say, oh, I'm stuck in traffic? But yeah, have you ever wondered that you are the traffic? It's a mindset shift, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like coming in from a hard day's graft, like, oh, I'm knackered. No. How's about your children and your family need a better version of you? So how's about you come home and bring the energy? Like, boom, where's the boys? Where's the girls? Where's the missus? Where's the fella? What? Bring that energy back home and actually be that inspiration that lifts the energy. And that's really what I think we need to look at in terms of today's society, in terms of, are you a sheep or are you a shepherd? If we all stepped up that little bit extra and decided to lead by example a little bit more, I think we'd have more of an output. Because today, I think we've got a society of, I want to avoid the hard work because that's graft. And let's be real, Scott, Who wants to do that graft? God, it is tough. Let me tell you, we're building houses. I don't know why I'm pointing over there, by the way, but it's over there. We're building houses and we were trenching in water in freezing conditions. You've got your wellies on, you've got your 2 pairs of socks on, you've got your ovies on, because I'm not being funny, it is freezing. So you've got your thermals on, you've got your woolly hat on, then you've got your hard hat. It is treacherous conditions just to earn your money. But that is building today. Yes, you can get machines, you can get your ICM beams and things like that, and you can definitely build it. But not every job is designed that way. And it does take a human actually to get out on site and physically do it. So if we're not disciplining our children today to understand it's about putting in the work, then what are we actually breeding? So for me, and this is not for everyone, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it is for everybody, but I think if I can just show my lads that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, and I'm going to choose to do it with a smile on my face, that's what they're going to see. And they're going to say, okay, that's how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the phrase, boys do what they want to do, men do what they have to do.
Yeah.
And I think we are kind of, two things that you spoke about, obviously the talent that's coming through in terms of the construction market. I think times have massively changed because people are more aware of what options are available out there, and they don't, like you say, who would want to be on a building site at 7 a.m. whilst it's pissing with rain, moving bricks versus, in a nice warm office with a cup of coffee at 7 a.m. People, back in the day, it used to be my dad's a brickie, his dad was a brickie, his dad was a brickie, and I'm a brickie. Whereas you've not quite got that type of talent coming through yet, because it's those age-old individuals that have been through the trade that then pass that knowledge and skill set on. Whereas now it's not, it's just the economy doesn't work in that sort of way anymore. So, but from my point of view, what's not happened is that shift in government support or more options available for people to get on and get onto the building sites. Because my first job was working on a building site, but that's because I came through an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
But I think if more apprenticeships were potentially available, or there was more incentives for business, because everyone knows, apprentices are a pain in the arse. They probably cause more hassle than they're worth sometimes. But in the long term, that benefit obviously becomes when they're a fully fledged, experienced individual.
Yeah.
They become a better asset to the company. But if the incentives aren't there to begin with, then why would someone invest that time when they can just skip that and employ someone that's been doing it for 2-3 years already and get talent at that point, rather than having to deal with, left-handed screwdrivers and, all that sort of stuff that comes with having an apprentice. So that's one sort of thing that you discussed there.
Well, just touching on that, right?
Go on.
This is what blows my mind. And I hope it hits home with some of your viewers. We've gone from a nation of putting our pride and soul into everything we touch. And we had a job role for the old-haired, grey-haired, more experienced developers. They'll probably giggle at this because they'll remember, and quivering in their shoes, the clerk of works. Remember a clerk of works?
No, I'm too young for that.
Clerk of works was the person who snagged on the job as it was being laid. Oi, that's not good enough. Change that, swap it, move it, do it. They were the creme de la creme. That was the job that people wanted, because it was like, wow, you are literally putting a stamp of quality as it happens. They was all about prevention. That's who we were, Great Britain builders. That's exactly who we were. Today, we've shifted to social media snaggers. So we now wait for the crap to be built, and we have fun telling each other, oh, look at them, they've built a climbing frame wall. It's out of plumb, it's this, that's leaking. We literally have professional snaggers as business owners. How the hell have we allowed that to happen as Great Britain? You may as well say we're not great anymore. We're just Britain. Remove the great, because what we produce on a building site, I'm not every builder. I'll tell you now, we don't allow it. And I know there's some other great developers out there that don't allow it. But the volume, because it's all volume, isn't it? Build quicker. Yeah, but how are you going to do that? Where's the labour from? They fire it down that quick now. They went, get rid of the clerk of works. They're overworked. Let's just build and snag it later. How absolutely disrespectful is that? I'm not proud of that. And that's who we've become. And it needs reversing very quickly.
Absolutely. That kind of leans onto the second point that you were talking about, which is that kind of culture piece that No one is willing to put the work in because they'd rather the easier option. And I think, yes, there's got to be more awareness around, mental health and that sort of stuff. But I think there's that kind of balance with where it tips over the other side, where it becomes an excuse not to do anything.
Yeah.
And it's, my first job was a building site. You get there at 7 a.m. and you don't leave until the job's done. And that could have been 8 p.m., 9 p.m. in some cases. Any normal, probably human being might have thought, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting the work in. And that's when you get the phone calls from the parents. It's 6 p.m. Why is my son still working? I didn't get that from my mum. My mum was just, you got to crack on. You got to become.
You do you.
Exactly that. And that probably built this foundation for me to be able to then go on and be in business and be able to deal with all the hardship that comes with that, because of this foundational piece that I was none the wiser. I just thought everyone worked till 8 p.m. I thought this was normal.
Yeah.
But it turns out it isn't. And I think it's finding that balance, because I am truly, truly grateful for working those long hours and being exposed to what I was exposed to at the time I was exposed to it. The argument on the other side of the fence is that the person that was employing me was 1,000,000% taking advantage of the fact I was on £3.30 an hour.
Absolutely, they were.
And putting the graft in to get the labour. But the experience that I got from that, I mean,
it's immeasurable.
You can't quantify it. You really can't. And I think that's where people get caught up. They get caught up on, you're taking advantage of that individual. Yeah, but it's a two-way street. That individual is becoming hard. Is a hard worker, is learning stuff on the job. Then what are they going to be sat at home watching TV or being on their Xbox? Or the other route, which is that what you've mentioned before. Why is Johnny working until 6 p.m? That's not acceptable. What's Johnny going to think then moving forwards? He's just going to think, I've got to work till 5 p.m. every day and not do anything else after that.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people are forgetting today. There's noise over here, but what's happening over here? Pivot. Have a look what is happening over here. People are saying, oh God, tradesmen are expensive, aren't they? No. It's not that we're expensive. The cost of gear is expensive. Of course it is, because we can't control what the government trade deals are happening, right? Okay, that's one thing. But don't be disillusioned. Construction companies, build teams are going to be rising their prices. Why? Because there's no one coming through the ranks today who's going to learn how to be a tradesman. Mm-hmm. And do you know who's caused that? Our era, who are having children, and we are mollycoddling our children. And they don't want to get their hands dirty. Like I said, you said it earlier, you're taking advantage. Damn right we're taking advantage, because we're going to give them a set of skills that they're going to have for the rest of their life, that they can eventually, if they want to, become one of us. Mm. So rather than be jealous of what you don't have or can see the negatives and actually what is happening today, they're forgetting what is happening over here. They are going to be left with a set of skills that, again, they can't be taken. Like my dad always said to me, get these in use. No one can ever take them from you. Yeah. So it's going to come a time where baby boomers have gone. Our era, we're going to step up, and there's no one coming through ranks, Scott. There's going to be a lot of money to be earned. And when people say, I need to hire a builder, get ready. You'll be taking bank loans out just to get a window pane changed. Yeah. It's going to happen, mate, because nobody wants... Do you know how many people today want to be a welder? Probably, I bet there's not even a welding course available. But there's probably people sat here listening to, what's a welder? Mm. But yet you say, you want to be a TikTok or YouTube star. I know what that is. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's a lot of, for me, the mindset shift, keeping it more relevant. I have a duty to my children to ensure that they understand to put the work in. Don't matter what it is. I'll tell you what I say to my lads every day. Be the best version of you. And when I ask them, anybody can ask them, take my phone, ring him now. Is at school, so you won't get him. What do you want to be? Or what does your dad say to you that he wants you to be when you're older? And it's just be happy. Mm. So the immeasurable goal is obviously happiness. So whatever it is that he does, whatever he chooses to be that makes him happy, he knows what it takes in order to strive for that. I think Ronaldo said, didn't he? 10,000 hours of practice to become that good.
Absolutely. And on that positive note, I think we'll come to a natural end. If people want to continue this conversation, though, with you, how can they go about getting in touch?
Listen, you can find me on LinkedIn. I've kept kind of social profile kind of kept it low. I've kind of kept a low profile with that. But LinkedIn, I've stepped up recently. Instagram Ryan Malee, or LinkedIn Ryan Malee. But yeah, listen, the conversation, again, it's an ongoing one. It's life's a journey, not a destination.
Absolutely. I love it. Happy days. Thank you for
Thanks
making the
for
trip today. Pleasure. Well, a lot to take away from that episode. Obviously, there are some fundamental issues with the British culture, but hopefully podcasts like this can bring more awareness with it. And put the effort in and you'll get the rewards. Resilience is probably one of the biggest key attributes to being an entrepreneur, and Ryan is living, breathing proof of that, despite being extremely modest about being a high achiever. But yeah, as I always say, please do like and subscribe, and do leave a review on the audio version so we can continue to get amazing guests like Ryan today. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.